meeting with invocation, and then if you'll remain standing, join us in the pledge to the flag. I'm going to call on Sheriff Blake Turman to open the meeting with prayer, please.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today in goodwill toward each other, dear Lord. I pray that you give these men and women the wisdom and the intestinal fortitude to get their jobs done and to do the best for their community, dear Lord. I pray that you be with each of us as we go throughout this week and help us to live for you, dear Lord. I ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We certainly do welcome you here. Appreciate your interest in the business of the county, and have a fairly brief agenda, but you just never know, do you? So, first item on the agenda is public comment from citizens, and there are none scheduled, so we'll move to consent agenda, and then we'll come back up to comments from other elected officials. Commissioners have the copies of the minutes from the March 12 and March 26 meetings. Those have been forwarded to you. You've had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections that you noted, or is there a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve those.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second on both sets of minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And then also under the consent agenda is approval of accounts payable and payroll for March 2019. And I believe you've had the chance to review those. Is there a motion to approve them?
Motion approved. I'll second.
Motion and second. If no one has a question on those, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, those are approved. Public comments from elected officials. We have a couple or three with us. You guys have anything you want to bring to the commission, make the public aware of? This is a good time to.
Is this the time we ask for stuff?
Hold off on that. No.
You and asked.
Yeah, this is fine. And you can ask for stuff while you're here. It's up to you.
I just want to let you guys know that yesterday we had a really busy day with the sheriff's office, but what really sticks out is we had a manhunt, and it went 24.9 miles. So our dog team really done a wonderful job and everything. I just want to publicly commend them here.
Okay.
All the officers involved, they all went home tired and wet and sweaty, but them old dogs, they did a really good job yesterday. Impressed with them.
Good.
So.
All right. Thank you, Sheriff. Anyone else? All right. If not, the first item on the business on the agenda is under new business, and we need to consider nominations for the County Board of Equalization. Page 30 and 31 in your packet have pertinent information. We've been asked. We don't make the appointments. We submit nominations for consideration at the state level, and there are 3 members that serve on this Board of Equalization, and the Board of Equalization, in case you don't know, considers folks' request if they feel like their property tax appraisals are wrong. They would consider those, have a hearing, and then make a ruling on that. It's a body of private citizens. So presently made up of 3 members: Kyle Gant, Virginia Brawner, and Joe Bush. And those 3 are willing to be to serve again. It's what, 4-year terms? Do you recall?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yes.
4-year
sorry,
Okay,
yeah,
4-year terms. Those 3 are willing to serve again. They're doing a good job, I believe, Chuck, and I think Chuck puts his blessing on those being the ones that are submitted. So, what are the wishes of the commission?
I'd make a motion that we submit these 3.
Okay.
Pardon me?
A motion to submit these 3 as our nominations.
Second.
There's a second. Tony?
Yes.
Any questions? Additional nominations to consider? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. We'll submit those then. We appreciate their service. I don't know how many times they meet, Chuck, 2 or 3 times a year?
Normally one.
Just once? Okay. Get it all done.
It's done in July.
Okay. We appreciate them serving. Next on the agenda is to consider the addition of office space to the shelter and EOC. You may remember a few weeks ago, we approved ordering a prefab building to serve as emergency operations center for the county, and it's to be located between the wings of this building. And there's been further discussion about the need to include some office space as part of that same effort. And Susan, do you want to make some comments on that, or do you want Karen to address that? We'll call you up, and if you have other items while you're here, you can cover those too, and we'll save you a trip.
The only thing is we really need to get a plan together, because the delivery date for the EOC and shelter is in July, and they actually prefab them and make them up there, so they're in the process of trying to get that done now. So we need to finalize about location, and if we do want to add on, because remember, the original plan was coming off that wing and the office space there, so I had it designed that way. So we are flipping it around and moving the modulars around, so we kinda need to make a plan quick if we could.
So the conversation is to slide it from one side of that lot over to the other side. In other words, have access directly into this wing, the south wing, I guess, of this building, near the sheriff's department, as opposed to the opposite side.
Right.
So you're talking about resetting door placements in the building when they build it.
Right.
Otherwise, the structure's the same,
Yeah,
just door
the
placement and
floor
windows.
plan is the same, we're
Okay.
just moving the modulars around.
And then the question beyond that today is consideration of an add-on building, whether we build that with our folks, or whether we buy another section of modular construction.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason for relocation was part because of the location of our tower, and the access to the tower is in that corner.
If we add on, yes, we have to move it over because of the tower.
Right. Because it won't allow access, if we have it on that side, we wouldn't be able to access that tower
Right.
very
We
easily.
were also looking at the other side because we thought we'd leave the offices in that wing of this building, and we decided, if we decide to relocate, build new offices, then we're not bound to that side, so.
Susan, I think we could build offices on this side and still attach it to that building, even if the building wasn't all moved over, couldn't we?
Say that again.
The size of those modulars
Uh-huh,
are gonna come out 40 feet, am I right?
yes.
Right.
We could actually build an office the same place we discussed it the other day, and
Yes.
attach to that building, even if it was on that side, and kinda come around the tower, if we had to. We could do all that without moving the modulars over. We could build you and Frank an office right outside that door and attach it to that
I
building.
don't think we could because of the drain. That's
I'm
why
gonna
we was
move
go,
that drain anyway.
not the way we have it planned now, you don't have to.
Okay.
And also, we're trying to make sure we left access to the tower for vehicle access.
Right,
And I don't know if what you're proposing.
It would be better to move it.
yeah.
And that's simple now to do that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
there's no problems with that.
Okay.
It's just, the wishes,
What's the
y'all's
cost?
wishes for the office part of it.
You have an estimate of cost? And
Well,
we'll
the
have to go through a
modular
procedure.
part of it would be around 90,000.
Okay.
Now, Kevin said approximately,
60 to 70,000, depending on what all we had to do as far as,
Okay.
fire alarms or anything like that. It all depends on, the structure itself would be about, $55,000-$60,000.
What's the cost of another module? Yeah.
The 90,000 is
90.
the estimate.
For
there.
this one piece?
Mhm.
for the whole office part in which we designed, which is just one office and a reception area.
One private office
a
and then
lot.
a common area, reception area.
Yeah.
Additional desk or whatever.
That sounds
If
like
it's
a-
not done in-house, I'd like to remind you that we'd need to solicit bids on it as well.
Yeah, either design or something, if we're gonna take bids on it, we're gonna have to come up with some kind of drawings. of
I've
what
got that, I
You
put
do.
down what we would like for office space.
It seems to me the only, other than the difference in cost, is the modular construction that you got an estimate of cost on, was, same wind load, same
Yes,
Susan, was that without the foundations of the module? Would that,
right,
that was just like, we would still have to do that foundation work,
right,
and it would be 90,000 on top of that?
yes.
That's another $10,000 for concrete and work too,
right.
for the foundation stuff.
Did you ask if it could be built onto?
Yes, it can be. We can build on to the original plan.
No,
I think
we can bolt to it if we had to, like, if we were going to add an office space, it would be okay to attach it to that building?
That is in a
What?
conference call this afternoon that we're having with him.
Would
And I
it
just
not be,
by,
would it probably not be better to wait and let's go ahead and get the modular set and then let's just address the additional office space then? Not try to do all this at one time, to go ahead and get the EOC up and going, cause we're not hurting for the space as much right now. And then if we come and add it later and let's see,
That's
about
fine,
gets,
yeah, that's fine, but I just wanna make in mind that I'm not messing my office space up by moving it over there and then not getting office space, and we have to stay in our own offices and then come around. That's the thing.
right. I understand that part.
Lynn, you started to say something about time.
yeah, we, Manuel, our crane operator, we looked at our counterweight measurements and all that we had, and the units weigh about 50 tons. Each section weighs about 50 tons, and, with the boom, that we'd have 15 feet's our maximum out, and our cable would be hanging 5.5 feet from the end of our tracks. And this building is 14, so 1.5 feet of this will actually be leaning up against our tracks. I just don't see how our crane's gonna be able to handle
So we have,
the weight of that.
we're gonna have to rent a crane,
Yep.
which was talked about in the early.
And the total cost for all the project was 15,000 for the crane that we were saving for that. So that would be the addition to get them to do it.
We would like to do it, but I just don't see how the crane's gonna be able to do it. It can pick it up, but it'll actually be leaning against our tracks when we try to set it. There's no easy way to do it.
Because of the limited space that we're trying to work in, we couldn't buddy lift on it. We couldn't put two in there. You know, we couldn't put our crane and a smaller crane to make two, cause we don't have room to work both cranes. So it's gonna take a bigger crane to do it.
Yeah.
Because, and we probably set one, but then we two blocking ourselves and can't get in.
Right.
How close, my question that you're talking about the space, maybe an additional space later or sometime. How far out do you think it would be? Would we start this and immediately go into that? If it is, we need to go ahead and figure it all at one time. Looks like to me, if we're gonna do that.
If this company's gonna do the modular, we'd have to go ahead and now, because this added module would be the
That's
part
what I'm
that
saying.
would have to go in.
If
Right.
we're gonna add to it, no, we need to go ahead and figure whatever our goal is, and if we're gonna do something now and later on we have to do more, we're backing up to me. We're gonna incur more cost probably down the road to redo and fix what we're trying to do right now.
Well, if you're not comfortable and you want to wait, we can do the modules as they are now, but we just have to build on later on,
We
and that's
limit-
fine.
But we don't
Like
have no
Kyle said,
guaranteed
we
price.
couldn't do the module part of it now.
We could come
later.
in with a modular office later. The
No.
idea of the modular office was that would give you also the same wind limits and
Right.
stuff. The office that Kevin and his team would build would be, something similar to this building. It would have similar capacity of this building. And so do you feel a need to, make sure this has a certain wind load that can withstand a storm, or can we utilize the shelter itself for office space in an event? So I think the preference would have been to have the same wind load, the same structural strength, but we could make it work. I mean, it's a rare occurrence, and we can make it work with just an add-on office, which we could do, with Kevin's team. For
Or could leave it as the original and still have the offices out of this building. there's three options still.
I think for safety purposes, if, we have an event, we're gonna have around 30 people there. I would say go ahead with the other module, and would be my preference, just to make sure that our workers, and it's not just ours, it's people throughout the county that's gonna be here, in this building. So I would rather have the same wind load and just go ahead and do it all at one time.
And that
What is
kinda-
the actual capacity, Susan, of the three that will be in place? I understand part of that's the radio room and things like that, but what would the capacity be for during a storm?
The shelter part or the EOC part?
Well, the shelter part.
The shelter part, we can't do anything with,
Right.
and I can't work out or anything, it's gotta be for shelter
What's
only,
the capacity then?
100.
And then the EOC would be 30 people, that's how many desks you have in there? So
Pushing it,
theoretically-
it's smaller than the EOC that we have now.
Right. So theoretically, you'd have 30 people in there working, possibly, and
I don't see that we're gonna have that many be able to fit in the modular that we have now. Cause it's gonna be it's smaller.
So how many sites are you gonna set in? You have an EOC design, how many sites will that?
We're probably gonna use tables instead of those cubicles, cause that's gonna take up too much space. So we might can get, it's just really how much radios we could get to pull in there, and
But you're gonna get as many as you have planned,
I'm
you
gonna try
need
to
to
put
prepare
what
for
we
it.
have
That's
in
why-
there now,
okay.
in there. It's
And that's
just
why
gonna
we're-
be tighter.
And I think Kevin's point is that, so those 30 you're taking care of in the existing new building, the new EOC, do you need that much more capacity in the office? Originally, we had planned for the office to be in this building, which had whatever structural strength this building has now, so, for the $30,000, maybe it'd be better just to build since you can accommodate 25 or 30 in an event, do you need that strength in the office building? I would like for us to commit to, I'd love for us to relocate the office if we can, so that it's all in one place now, rather than postpone that. Because as things tend to do, that'll just get left and you would never relocate. We have need, not immediate need, but I think we have foreseeable need for space, office space. And this is the ideal way to construct that new space and free up some existing space, I think.
Cause I just don't, if you put it off, you don't know what your prices are gonna be. And if you had to bring in equipment to reset up, you got all these additional expenses that's coming on, so I mean,
If we do
I'm weighing that, which, if we're gonna do it, it'd be better probably at this point to go ahead and figure it in at a savings. Even though it's gonna cost us more, it's gonna cost us less if we had to redo.
So we need,
Thoughts on?
we need to
You know,
solicit,
I've always got thoughts on it.
Yeah.
we'd solicit bids on that
I,
additional office.
Unless we build it ourselves.
to me, the only thing is the cost difference in it. And the way Kevin's talking now, we're talking about $12,000 or $15,000 difference between us doing it and them doing it. Am I
No,
getting your
30
figure?
30,000.
I think we can do it for around $50 a square foot roughly, and it all depends on, how much electrical and wiring and specialty things we have to do. So I'm figuring on about $60,000, maybe 70.
Does that include heating and cooling too? Cause it would be separate then.
That would include the heating and cooling. So
And they're looking at 90.
she's looking at 90 for just the unit, plus probably
10 for the
$8,000
slab.
to $12,000 worth of concrete and metal work too, because that's just the unit. We're gonna do
40,000 difference.
the foundation work, and it's extensive. We're gonna do the foundation work for the 3 units that are coming already. And it's about $25,000 worth of concrete, metal, and labor.
And Elia did say that would be the max, the 90. So if we bid it out, it may be, I'm giving y'all the worst case scenario on his side.
So we're looking at 90 plus 10, 100,000 if we go with the modular, probably maximum. And, looking at
So about
probably
30,000
60,
difference probably.
65,000 if we go with,
$35,000 or
Building
$40,000
house.
a lot of money to Tony.
That is a joke too.
Can we just solicit the bids and we can reject
get a
them
fair
when they
price?
come? If it's overpriced, then we can decide at the next meeting.
do we have time to do that for the next meeting? Can we get out
If
bid
we-
specs that quickly?
And I think if we had to, the office space doesn't have to be where we initially, it could actually be adjacent to it on the other side maybe, where the parking lot is, if we had to have that space.
I'd like for us to make that decision pretty quickly, so. Yeah. So you wanna make a motion to request bids and ever how much time we need, does that go through an advertising? Or no?
Yeah, just according to the dollar amounts, but we
We'll look-
probably wouldn't need to.
And as quickly as we can do that under the law. You wanna make that motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we do bids on it.
I'll second.
And that's modular construction,
Yes.
matching what we have now, so we already have specs, I think, that will stand for this too. All right, there's a motion and second, and then hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks, and next meeting, whenever that is, we'll have enough information then to make the decision on what, the direction we're gonna go, either build ourselves or modular.
Would there be any additional match money on this addition? There's not none on it. That's what I thought.
Susan, we have got it approved to put it on this side though, right? Like I could go ahead and start some preliminary work, get rid of some flower beds.
We'll do that, we'll
You're
do
gonna
that
have to
here in
do
just a
that.
second.
That
Anyway.
anyway.
Yeah.
No matter where it's put,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're gonna have to be able to drive
Are you-
through.
Are y'all okay with that as part of the motion, that it be relocated to the opposite side, to the, I think it's the south, whatever
South
side,
side.
it's the south side of
South
this building.
Interior side.
That's okay, that's okay. All right, so that's what we're voting on, request bids and that the new construction be on the south side of the building as discussed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you, ma'am. Been asked to consider modifications to the Manning chart, page 32 in your packet has the request. I think this is directly related to Sheriff Turman and his office. Sheriff, we'll ask you to come up to the podium and we'll swear you in. You swear to tell the truth. You wanna tell us a little about this? This is the request to add 2
Yes,
part-time employees.
Actually, my intentions when I took office was to, take the full-time patrol, take the full-time officer out of the courthouse and replace him with, not necessarily a full-time, but to rotate my deputies in and out of the courthouse. So I wanna put that position actually on the road. So I'm not really losing that position, but I do need to deepen my, my part-time pool. Right now, I have, about 4 guys on part-time. 2 of them are here pretty regular, that'd be, Chief Grimes and Tommy Merritt with my investigation staff. Another one would be, John Williamson, which is part of the IRT team. And actually, my only one guy I have that's kind of a part-time deputy is Larry Baker. And I just need to deepen my part-time pool and, so I can rotate some part-timers in and out of the courthouse as needed. They're not always needed every day. Sometimes they have like today's a light day. I could swing somebody up there for a couple of hours and not have to keep anyone up there. So I'd like to deepen my part-time pool. And of course, part-time is taken care of out of my budget, so it's gonna be no expense to the commission.
So these won't be charged against the general fund, they'll be paid out of law enforcement funds.
No.
Two part-time slots, but it does require change in the staffing level. Is there a motion to approve this as requested?
Make a motion we approve this.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Anybody have questions for the sheriff on this before we vote?
No.
How many hours, when you're saying part-time, what is that, how does that
This would
fit?
be-
Not 10 and a half or less.
Yeah, I can't imagine it, there's 5 days in a week, and I can't imagine it being over 20 hours each guy, but if it's 19 and a half, it won't be over that.
Okay, all
So,
right,
a couple of days a week for each of them.
okay. All right, there's a motion and a second. Any more questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Sheriff. Page 33 through 40 are proposed improvements for the arena. Are we ready to act on that, or do we need a little more time?
I believe, we need to act on it now to get an order in place since we will be taking the arena back over later this year.
So tell us particularly what's in the packet that we'll be
Okay,
looking
this
at.
is estimates that Kevin got for us. Kevin, would you like to come and?
I will, I don't have a copy of that, but
Here, here's one.
I don't know what I gave you.
Here.
There you go.
I wasn't prepared for this.
That's the original.
So I was asked to, get us some quotes on redoing the bathrooms. I think the general consensus of you all that have been down there have seen the bathrooms were kind of in terrible shape. The countertops and things were made kind of like your general home countertops are made, and they went in over the years and they pressure washed, put a lot of water in there, and they're swollen and damaged, and they look terrible. That was the general consensus that, hey, we need to, get these bathrooms. I went down there and took a lot of pictures and just kind of did an overview, and what I found, the things we needed to kind of tidy up quickly as we could, maybe even before we took over again, was mostly cosmetic, some painting, some of the handrails, some of the countertops in the bathrooms and such as that. There's some toilet seats broken, and I've got a list somewhere that I gave Karen, or I think I emailed y'all. I don't have that list here. These are quotes I got for countertops. One of them is stainless steel. That was mentioned, what would it cost for stainless steel? One of them is, of course, granite, and one of them is a quartz, which is similar to granite. One company says that's the way to go. The granite guy says it's not. I don't know if that's business or what, but the granite actually came in a little bit cheaper than anything else to replace all of these. There are 6 countertops. There's 3 women's and 3 men's. And the total for the granite was $9,440 to replace all of those. He assured me that his labor would not change at all, but if we wanted a different color than the gray ones that he sent me a picture of, that could be a variance in price, minor, a few $100s, but some granite slabs are a little more than others, depending on what color it was. So, with the estimate that I gave you, Mr. White, I don't have a copy of all the little things. It was around $20,000, I believe, $22,000. That was just labor and materials to do things like restripe the parking lot, fix the concrete in a few places, repaint the bathroom floors, change ceiling tile, replace light bulbs. That's general stuff to get it kind of operational. And that's where, if we could get some amount of money, I think I mentioned an amount of around $30,000 to cover everything plus something that, maybe I didn't see that we needed to do, just a little extra $30,000 for that budget, could probably get us in line. And, I don't know how we need to start the work with us not acquiring it again yet, with a lease still in place. I don't know if we need to have something.
We'll have
in
the
writing
conversation with Don before.
Don,
Yeah.
before we actually start working. I did talk to him, and he doesn't mind
Yeah.
us
We'll
going
get-
down there working, pressure washing, painting. I think they've got one more event.
They got the state high school finals are in June,
That's right.
and it'd be nice to have some of this fixed before then, because it is.
The junior rodeo is, the last day of May and 1st and 2nd, and then the next weekend after that's the high school rodeo.
So
And I think that's their last event.
Mhm.
That's
State
their last
Which
one.
only gives a real short period of time, and it was mentioned that there's a Ducks Unlimited wants to come, I
There's something,
believe.
that's
After the
after,
fact.
that'd be after he's gone, and.
Right, but there's a
But-
only a short
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
frame there. I'd love to get
Well,
started.
we'd love to
Yeah, regardless of what it is, it all needs to be repaired.
Right.
Do you
as
think
long-
that the
Before.
bathroom, the countertops can be replaced by that end of May?
I'm not sure.
Not sure what
I would
delivery
hope
is.
so with
Okay.
this much, advance notice, I would hope.
Okay,
I would hope so. And if we can work in there before then,
Yeah.
I'm sure Mr.
we'll
Wood will-
formalize that, yeah, to make sure we're on the same page. But
What all does this consist? Just the tops, or what about the
It's
sinks and?
all.
sinks are
Everything
every-
but plumbing. I'll have to attach our existing plumbing to there.
And-
which
and
is no
faucets and
problem.
stuff.
How much additional cost would it be to put hot water in?
Well, I haven't looked at that exactly, but it could
But I
be a
mean, you
whole
know-
lot. We've got gas going to there already. We could do gas hot water like we have in this building. That's the hot water heater between the bathrooms up under the bleachers to do the
Right.
top 2 and one in the bottom. And we could plumb it in there.
Well, there's hot water in the bottom, there's none in the top.
Oh, really? Well, we'd have to do it in the top then. I don't think it'd be that much cost. We could put a hot water heater.
I mean, that's just one thing
under the
that,
bleachers
that,
And
They
to do
could-
both of those bathrooms up there.
That could be some of that extra $1,500 that you set aside in your estimate,
Right.
or whatever, okay.
I mean, that's just one thing, being able to have some warm water to wash your hands with and
It
maybe
does
changing
make- It does
stations.
make a difference. I mean,
Yeah,
if that's something we wanna do, that's definitely doable.
Kevin has started with a priority list that he's
Mhm.
established. I'd love for all y'all to review it and just see if you agree, see if you want to add something like the hot water, and let's just kind of massage that a little bit.
And it's
But if
mostly,
we-
there's a few leaks insulation falling, I'd like to get all that, the leaks fixed first, of
Right.
course, then the insulation back up. Some painting in the bathroom, some painting of the handrails, some light bulbs, there's a lot of lights out there out.
The fans is
And-
stifling hot in the summer in there.
It is. The big fans work fine. The little fans, exhaust fans, they're not little, but they're little in comparison. On the
ends of the
east
building.
wall,
On the louvers and,
those need new belts. There's a couple of them that don't work at all, and that's probably gonna need a motor. But I haven't checked it, I haven't been over there and checked each one and put my hands on them, but I know most of them are gonna need new belts, but they did come on. But yeah, they
Could
need
we-
repair also.
What if we approved, maybe 35 to 40, maybe 40,000 towards overall upgrades and improvements? And just watch that, ask him to give us a report week to week or month, as we proceed. Not to say that we spend that much, but I think that we will easily, and that'd just give him something to kind of work against, so he can plan his priorities against that number. Because as Joe said, this needs to be done regardless of what
It
ultimately
does.
happens to it.
I mean,
These
the
are-
leaks and all gotta be fixed, it's just more damage.
Exactly. And those
More ceiling
handrails,
tiles, more this, more expense.
The countertops and stuff on the all that stuff has gotta be done.
Anybody have thoughts on that?
That would be out of our capital improvements fund, would that,
Mhm.
how that would come?
I think it could,
Mhm.
if you can qualify.
Most of it should.
On this, Kevin, because I know we talked about it a minute yesterday, but now is this, the guy that's installing this, if you go with this granite, is that the one, is he gonna put the metal frames up under that like we talked about yesterday, or?
We'll do the structural work up under it. I think y'all would do that with treated wood. We could do however y'all wanted to. What's under there now is wood that's holding up the countertops, and we could redo that. And what I think would look good under there is maybe some wood that's stained in polyurethane or something that would be durable. What's under there now is, of course, the same thing you put in your house. It's a laminate type composite that has gotten wet and swollen and busted and things like that, and we wouldn't put anything like that back in there.
Well, I know pictures he sent us yesterday showed that metal frame, and I didn't know whether y'all went in that direction or where you were gonna do something with the frame there.
I was gonna frame anything up under it, I was just gonna get the countertops from him.
Why would we not put them? I had a question for you on the countertop thing, on the concrete ones, from what I can see on that, that's quite a bit less than the others, isn't it?
Well, not less than the most recent one I got, which I just got this morning, he hand wrote for me yesterday, is the granite. You got a copy of this?
Right.
Okay, that's the granite. The concrete one is considerably less than the stainless steel.
Right,
It's
I
a-
didn't see that top number,
Okay, it's
That's-
about the same.
right, I
It's
see
a
it.
little more than the,
Yeah, I was looking at that handwritten bottom one, I didn't see that top
and y'all,
number.
there's so many options with that concrete. I know y'all been in places in Salt and seen a sink that had one drain hole in the middle of it and like 4 faucets across it and a big trough.
Right,
Beautiful, very neat. She said, she could do any type of sink that we wanted. The cost wouldn't vary much though. That's a cost for a sink, just like we have 4 sinks, just like we have now 4 sinks. But she said it might save a little money to take and put a trough in it, because it would only be one, it wouldn't save, her labor wouldn't change, but I would only have one plumbing connection to hook up. That would be the savings.
and then that trough model, would it be, I don't know what, automatic, I mean, you stick your hand on it and
Now,
motion
that's
sensor?
totally separate from what she will do. Her price is just gonna be the countertop and the sink.
Right.
I could install an automatic one like we have here, where you
Well,
put your hands up under it, the water comes on.
Do you think those are better? I mean, I know they're pretty durable, I know it saves on somebody just turning the water on, walking off and leaving it
I
running.
think it would be a good idea. It's a lot of cost initially, they're expensive. But the ones we have at this building have operated for almost 20 years now and have done real good, and you move your hand out from under them, it's off.
But if somebody went in there and turned the water on and left it, and then
Exactly. It could.
left on Sunday afternoon or whenever it was and came back Tuesday.
Unless somebody's going behind them. Of course, somebody's gonna be cleaning the bathroom.
Right.
But it's not a bad idea, no. They also make one you can just push the button on top of it. It's like,
Right.
it's not pneumatic, it's almost like a
Right.
mechanical spring.
Right.
Push it, and
Right.
it runs for maybe 15 seconds, and then it goes off.
So
So one of those options, I think, would be a good idea for that application.
fixtures are not included then, it's
Fixtures
just
are
the
not
sink
included. This
itself,
is
so
just
we can go
countertop
with the
with
automatic.
sinks in it.
Yeah, okay.
The
Okay.
fixtures would still have to be, and what we have out there, the fixtures are corroded and nasty,
Yeah.
and we would have to replace those too, so that's a little more cost. Minimal in comparison, I mean, a few $100s maybe,
Right.
maybe $500 for, for all good, and then it may double for automatic.
I know,
I wouldn't,
I would love to see us get the bathrooms renovated before the end of those, end of the season events and.
And we could go in there and
We can do
clean them and fix there's some
That's
soap
cool.
dispensers and
Could,
stuff we can replace, repaint the floor.
I think, we could maybe go ahead and I'd make a motion that we appropriate, say $30,000 toward the renovation of this and at this time, and if it runs a little over, then we'll maybe adjust it accordingly.
And I'll keep you informed once we get
Right,
approval
and
to
kind of
get
keep us
started,
going
we'll
and
get
maybe
started.
come back with some figures maybe by next meeting as to when what the difference in the plumbing would be for the automatics or the spring-loaded and kind of give us an option and your opinion, what you think could be most durable, because that's gonna be important. That we
Yeah,
don't
and
have to
with
go
that
through this
application,
again.
when is-
Well, had we put granite tops or something in it years ago, we probably wouldn't have to be doing this, but, it's 15, 20 years old, so it's time to do something.
It is, we gotta
It's
do
20
something.
years old, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, is that also to go with your proposal is 30,000, go ahead and approve 30,000 so we can start planning and budgeting. Does that include the granite
Whichever
countertops?
Yeah.
uh,
Whichever's
to move forward?
the best and lowest price, and that
That's the granite.
$9,400.
I think all of them are similar in construction, really, as
I
far as.
think it'd be more
durability.
durable and be able to withstand the cleaning. That's gonna be a process, cause we're gonna be pressure washing and painting, and I think it's gonna have to be something pretty durable, cause it's kind of a commercial application. It's not something we're gonna put in our house. It's gonna last,
It
you know,
is, and
just
I
use.
wouldn't recommend pressure washing the bathrooms. I
But-
think we can clean them in a different way,
Well, maybe.
and that's all going to depend on how we manage it in the future.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea to take a pressure washer in the bathroom. We've got
Yeah.
ceiling tile in there like
I
in
don't-
here. It's not a good idea to take a pressure washer. All y'all have probably seen or done some pressure washing in the past.
I don't think,
Everything gets wet,
I don't see a need
and
for
it'll
pressure
tear
washing.
up, it'll tear up stuff.
Right.
It's blown the paint off
But-
the walls and, off the floor, and it's made the bathroom dividing stalls and stuff,
What's-
it's damaged those.
So we'll change that
Yeah.
procedure then.
We
We'll-
need-
I'm fine
the
with
motion-
granite, if that's what everybody else
Motion
is.
for 30,000
Yeah.
and that includes, that is committing to the granite tops
granite
based on
top.
price.
Does that suit y'all?
Anybody
I
else?
think,
Need a
That'd be a-
second? If you-
it'll be a good start.
Maybe
when
we'll
we have
second that
none.
motion.
Excuse me, before we make a motion, I'd like to say something if I may.
We'll come back to it. I'll give you a chance in a few minutes, but we do have a motion on the floor and,
I'll say.
Well, now, this motion
There's
is
a-
for the money acquired to the arena.
This is
this is
something out of
to.
a capital improvement, just
We
now.
have capital improvement funds that have certain designations, and that's what this is. We already own the facility, and this is just really just a common
Maintenance issue.
maintenance and improvement to it, just to keep it
So the
usable.
citizens have no say in this.
They already have. They already have.
When did the citizens have a
20
say?
years ago when it was constructed, there were donations made for it. It's been used for all these years. The county owns it, and we have an obligation to maintain it. And that's what we're talking about.
Well, how much money do you owe on the arena? I know.
We'll come back, I'll tell you what, we'll come back. Let's deal with the motion on the floor, and we'll come back to it unless somebody wants to table the motion. But we do have a motion, and we do have a second. Somebody second.
I did.
All right. Anybody else have a question or comment on it? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Kevin. Unless someone opposes, we'll change the procedure just a little bit, and we'll give you a chance to have a comment
What you want?
on the issues before us. Yes, ma'am.
I really do not see allocating money for this arena right now.
Yes, ma'am.
It probably does need some fixing up.
It does.
The arena was opened in 2001. Don Bullard took it over in 2009 because the county could not get enough people to come and rent it and pay the expense that it cost to build it. Now, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. The arena was supposed to cost $1.5 million.
Wrong.
It spent $5 million, am I right or wrong?
Little over 5 million, yes,
How
ma'am.
much do you owe on it?
Well, we had about 2 million donated towards it. And I have because we've been paying on it for 18 or 19 years, I don't know what the outstanding principal is. But,
Mr. Bullard kept it for 10 years.
yes, ma'am,
He took it over in 2009, he's giving it up this year.
that's correct.
And I think what we could do is let people come up here and talk about the arena
Yeah.
and how important it
Yeah.
is. And
We-
us that
we-
live here and drive 1 hour to use an arena because we don't have one
Yeah.
here.
There's we certainly can have conversation about it later. Some of your facts are wrong already, just so that you'll know. And, well, that's what I'm doing.
And I'll go back and I'll do more research.
That's fine. The purpose of the arena when it was built, it was underway before I came in office. I came in 1995. There was already the planning underway. A committee of 35 folks from across Covington County were on that, were asked to study, determine, propose, determine a site, 35 people. One was added later, a total of 36, and they represented all aspects of our county. And they presented a unanimous report to the commission in mid-1995, and the commission acted and moved forward with the proposal that they brought. That was to locate it where it is, that was to build what was built. With some changes, they didn't have a design, they had not spent money on an architect, but they had a proposal of what they would like to see there in the end. And the commission set forth to do that in the best way that they could. There were facilities built around this state and in Mississippi that government spent $10, $12, $15 million on. This facility was built, as you said, for $5.5 million or a little less. And it served all of the needs that were laid out by the committee of 36 Covington County taxpayers. Coming in 20 years later, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because we already own it. We're about to take it back over. Don Bullard operated it for 10 years, I believe you said, and he's decided to give it up, so the commission needs to consider how to move forward and make the most of that asset, or allow it to become a liability to this county. And I don't think any of us want to see that.
Or let some of the kids that rodeo around here come and talk to y'all
That's right.
about how
There's
they get punished for something they didn't
I've-
do.
And it,
That will generate a lot of money.
It was never built to
It
pay
will
for
not.
itself. It was built to provide quality of life for this county. It was built to enhance the economic impact of this county. And it's not a whole lot different than what I see on weekends when people come through here and stop and spend money on the way to Boggs and Boulders, which is not in our county. But you see the impact of that traffic here. Ask any business person if they'd like to see Boggs and Boulders closed, and they would say no. The arena was exactly the same way. The folks that run restaurants, the folks that run stores, that run gas stations, appreciate the traffic it
But
brings.
I'm
Joe?
still sure that Boggs and Boulders makes way more money.
Football fields don't
Ma'am.
make.
Yeah, it's,
yes,
that's,
ma'am. But
Joe.
Or baseball fields.
I relate it to kind of like our ball fields and our park. I mean, and let me kind of back up for just a moment. It's just like the courthouse. We own it, and we want it to be presentable, and for you or anybody else that comes in here, because, I mean, we got to maintain it just like you would your house, because if you let it go down, it's worth less. We hadn't reached a decision as to actually what we're going to do with it yet, as far as the commission and who all's going to be involved with it. That's been a point of discussion between all of us. But with the capital improvement money, it is designated for just certain things, and that's what we'd spend it on. The ball fields don't make money, they cost money, but it does, provide an opportunity for the families and the children and what have you to play and develop skills, life skills that they don't get elsewhere, and that's a good thing. And same thing with the arena and all that. If you hadn't been, I'd certainly invite you to come and go watch especially the kids, as I call them, the junior and the high school rodeo, and see it, and I think you'd think it was worthwhile.
Anybody else have a comment?
Is that-
Question?
The only thing I'd say is this, and I can relate a lot to you. I felt like the arena was a mistake from day one, but it belongs to us. It's ours. It's this county, and we're taxed with keeping it up, with keeping it presentable. And I agree that it can be a big thing, much like the sports complex or anything else can be for the kids and all in this area. Will it ever support itself? Absolutely
No.
not. I mean, I don't think there's ever a chance that but then I think the impact from the tax dollars from it can make a big impact on the county as well, so, you know, let's go back to Pigeon Creek Bridge, that's one thing, had it been kept up over all these years, then we wouldn't be faced with the thing we're faced at there today. And that's one of the things that I agree with the fact of keeping this arena up. I don't want this arena to be a Pigeon Creek Bridge 10 years down the road.
Anybody else? All right. Yes, sir.
You know, y'all are committed, but the people is getting the point that y'all, and look, now I love the kids and I love them to have something to do. But our roads is not getting any attention. They promised to cut the side of the road, they worked for 2 days, and the bad curve, guess what? They took it off over yonder somewhere.
Mhm.
And if you go around that curve, and somebody else is coming, they're gonna be a bad one. And that is a public road, it's not just people live on it.
Well, we are trying every day to address problems with the roads and prioritizing those. Lynn does an excellent job with that. His staff does an excellent job. And they're spending a budget of, I don't know, $3 to $4 million, $4.5 million a year maintaining roads. So we're spending that much on that. We'll continue to do that. We have new money coming at the end of this year that will help us do a better job. And so we should see over the next 18 months, we should see improvements in that. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, it's not that you don't get out there and do it, it's that you don't get out there and do it right.
Okay, that's
my comment.
that's a judgment.
On that particular curve, they came out there 6 months ago, maybe a little over 6 months ago, and they cut the opposite side of the road and not the side where you couldn't see. They worked out there one day and they left. They didn't do anything until we came in here again and mentioned about it and carried on about it.
Okay.
They came down there, they didn't even do that curve, but they did other areas of the road that didn't even need it. Now, right now, the curve, we have no problem with it.
Okay.
Right now, because the foliage has already fell off the bushes, the trees, the mimosas and everything. But now the growing season is coming on, and they're starting to put on buds, and they'll be grown back out.
Right.
And we won't be able to see cars coming around those curves.
And what road's that on?
South Pines Road.
Okay. So Lynn, you're aware of that, and we'll follow up on that.
But now I can also take you down a lot of other dirt roads that are in just as bad shape.
Yes, ma'am. We work at them every day. We work at them every day. Covington County.
You
Let me,
work on them, but you don't finish them, you move somewhere else.
Right.
well, that's a judgment call, and certainly we may make mistakes on it, but I'd say that we do finish projects, that we do a good job with them. And we is not me, but it's Lynn and his crew.
And
Covington County roads grade in the top 5 or 6 counties in this state. The last time a grade was given, that wasn't by us, that was by ALDOT. So I would suggest that if we grade that well on our roads, we're doing something right in spite of what you think. In spite of what you think. So I appreciate the good work they do.
And in defense of them and everybody else, these roads have been neglected for years. The right-of-ways have been neglected. We're aware of that. Lynn and them have really tried to address it. We've appropriated money and they've bought new equipment to help maintain it. Can you tell me, you told me the other day, what kind of cycle it takes just for us to get around all these roads? It's like
Well,
3 years or something to get all this done. Well, you know in 3 years it's gonna grow back, but it's a work in progress, like cutting your grass. We gotta continue to do
3
it.
years, if y'all give me 3 years, you'll see a big difference in our vegetation on our roads. It's gonna take me that long. I'm cutting 200 miles a year. We got 660 miles. And, we got 2 pieces of equipment, and at the rate we're going, we should be able to cover this county in 3 years.
And you're cutting 200 miles, but you're having to cut both sides of the road,
Yes,
so
that's
it's
about
basically
700
400 miles.
That's 700 miles, yes.
Okay,
That's correct.
so, there's a
I
lot.
will say this, there's some of it going on in my district now, and it is unbelievable, the difference. You look today and go back and look a week later.
And y'all see the size of the stuff they're cutting. I mean, they're cutting some pretty large stuff. It's because it's been allowed to grow to that size. Hopefully with this cutting it back, the bigger stuff back, the new growth will be smaller and certainly faster to cut. It's like cutting your grass. If you let it get out of hand, it takes a lot.
Just like Mr. Holmes said, if this had been kept up
Right.
over the years, you wouldn't have the problem.
Yes, ma'am, but we
Where did you go wrong?
we inherited this too, you know what I'm saying?
And
It's
right,
just
so-
part-
We ain't
I mean, we
always
have-
been sitting up here. We doing what we can with what we got to work with right now.
And
We
rightly
working
so, a
hard
lot
as
of
we can.
fence rows have been or not taken care of by landowners.
And you know that.
There's a lot of bushes on the other side of the fence that people want us to cut, and I can't
Because they're-
cut it because the fence rows not being maintained by landowners that put fence up. That's a big part of our problem in the county. But we're on a herbicide program right now. Like I said, if y'all give me 3 years, this is our pretty much first year we've kind of implemented the herbicide portion of it. We've secured, I wanna say about a $460,000 or $480,000 in between two pieces of equipment that I've dedicated this, so I know it's a problem. So I've invested, your taxpayer money's invested $500,000 that I see that's a need. So that's what I'm out there doing. So if y'all just give me just be patient with it, I think you'll see a big change in 3 years.
Okay.
We're just I'm trying to prioritize our main roads. I'm working a lot in Kyle's district. I got a lot of roads, a lot of complaints in one area right now that I'm trying to get everything cut out in that area. It just takes time. I love to be doing paint striping, but I'm so limited on our crews. I would love for any person to just come and just look at what I have to face every single day and decisions we have to make for you, the citizens of the county. It's tough decisions, everything. For closing bridges, for prioritizing resurfacing jobs. Like I said, we've got a lot of infrastructure that nobody knows about in this county. Third in the state. And I keep harping on the dirt roads, most dirt roads in the whole state, second most bridges for a small county population-wise that we have to deal with every day. We got limited funds, and I think we do the best we can with the monies that we have, and I try to prioritize that.
And I know they do, and I do commend Lynn and his crew, and others. I think we would agree that the previous engineer did a good job for this county. The one before him did a good job, and we just keep pushing.
But you will see a difference, I promise. You give me 3 years, and we're already in the first year already. We're already halfway through what we started with our dirt roads. And like I say, with the rate we're going, it'll take about 3 years to cut every dirt road back, like I want them to get cut back. And then our herbicide program, we sprayed, the all of District 4, most of District 1, and we got mostly the whole south part of the county we still have to spray this coming fall with our first spraying. And we'll come back and we're starting to trim stuff back too. So, it's just a work in progress. It just takes time. It's a big county.
Joe?
So.
And I was just going along with that, we spending 1/3 of the workforce in the road department just putting in driveways. And that's something we've been discussing. We may have to change some things that we're doing on that to get some additional people on the roads instead of, building driveways for new construction or existing driveways. And that's something the county's, we've been discussing on how we're gonna deal with that. But, it's something the county's done for a long time, but we may have to quit doing that in order to help catch up on other things. It's just, like I said, it's just priority and trying to spend the amount of time and money that we have is best we can. And so we're working on it, I promise you, every day. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm aware that y'all have done some improvements. I especially noticed Dawes Road in River Falls. It's a small road, it's a cut-through road from Highway 55 over to the old highway there at,
Gant Road.
yeah, I guess you'd call it Gant Road, but
And the reason I prioritize that road, Gant, Francis, and Gamble Avenue, is because the town of River Falls have got a grant about $300-something thousand to pave those roads.
Ditches cut, and that's the first time they've been cut in like 6
That's
or 7
right.
years.
And that's what I hope they are gonna look like.
It's an improvement,
Yes.
but I didn't really realize that there's that much traffic on that road because there's no houses on that road.
We got a lot of people that use dirt roads for cut-through roads, It's,
Well, I use it a lot to go to River Falls Baptist Church, so.
But that's one reason we cut that, because they do have a grant. We want to get the roads fixed so they get the road paved. They're fixing to do that paving there, so,
So y'all do that, so the paper and then do something.
yes.
If there's nothing else on that, thank y'all for your comments. Next on the agenda is, consider a resolution for the engineer's office, page 41 and 42. First is a resolution for shoulder widening, leveling, resurfacing rumble strips, raised pavement markers, traffic control marker signage, and end anchors on County Road 21, otherwise known as Ard Creek Road. And the other is to install end anchors and metal bridge railing on the following structures located on County Road 4. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, I guess six different.
Sites, yes.
All right, 6 different sites. Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions, or do you need more clarification before we consider a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
All right, motion to adopt these 2 resolutions for work being done by the engineering department. If there's no comment or question, or if there are none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Reports from staff. Any of you have something? Yes, sir.
I don't think I need to come up there, but I just wanted to remind everybody that April is Don't Drop on Alabama month.
Okay.
And, so we'll be doing an area-wide, work of the week. It's gonna be the 20th through the 27th. A specific week that the state has declared for, Don't Drop on Alabama is gonna be our big cleanup week. The specific day that you realize that week is the 26th. Just so that you know, we'll be, we have single bags, if anybody wants to be, utilizing that week to, pick up areas around their churches or communities, campuses, things like that. But again, the county commission, along with the Andalusia, the Andalusia and Ops City Chamber of Commerce, will be, working on a joint effort to make sure that Covington County is taken care of.
So really encourage local groups, churches, and schools, as you mentioned, to help us and adopt the areas around their locations, and we can provide the bags and pickup of trash. We can coordinate that.
Bags, we can provide, safety vests, as needed, and also gloves
Okay.
as needed if community groups and, civic groups wanna get together and meet up at some point to do a pickup.
Okay.
They'll contact our office, we can meet them out there.
Coordinate it.
We'll supply.
All right, good. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Frank, his volunteer team did a great job last year, and I appreciate that, and appreciate you picking it up and running with it again this year.
Have we got several schools like we did last year? We
I
had
believe so. We got
some of our rural schools was getting out and they done real good.
All right, any other staff reports?
I have
Commissioners?
a update on
Lynn.
the Pigeon Creek job. We have finished our survey,
Good.
for the whole road. I've been spent last week and, Monday and yesterday, to finish up the survey. I'm meeting with the DOT, this week to discuss the intersection, if we have to do maybe a decel lane there at the location where we come out on 55,
Okay,
so.
Good.
But we're in the design phase now since I've got the survey completed, so.
good. All right, any other staff reports? If not, commissioners, y'all have anything?
No.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned, thank you.